A U.S. Coast Guard rescue swimmer being called a hero after helping rescue at least 165 people from that flooding there in Central Texas. We are told over the holiday weekend, there he is, Scott Ruskin, saved young children at one of those summer camps that was hit the hardest. Ruskin was one of the first on the ground after flying through an ongoing storm there. And once at the campsite, he was met with about 200 children, many of them obviously very afraid. He said he led them about 10 to 15 at a time to Army helicopters ready to take them to higher ground. This was surprisingly Ruskin's first mission.
There's going to be a lot of heroics from this, not only from like first responders, but just the people that were the survivors, right? Like caught in the flood. Hearing stories from some of the camp counselors when I was on the ground with them, just telling them like, hey, I was throwing kids out the door just to get them out of the flood water, grabbing one crock for them. Like a lot of the kids didn't even have shoes on. I was just carrying them to the helicopter because they're stepping on wet rocks and their feet might be cut up and stuff.
The Coast Guard, deployed after that federal disaster declaration, has carried out more than 230 rescues.
We met up with a group earlier today. These are international search and rescue crew members from the city of Acuña, Ciudad Acuña, on the Mexican side of the border, just across the river, across the Rio Grande from Del Rio. They were brought up here to try and help out as well, and we caught up with them earlier today when they were able to find a body. They found a missing person earlier today during their first mission out this morning. Have a look.
Near Ingram, the painstaking work continues in this specific area where two bodies were found underneath all of this rubble overnight and into the morning hours on Monday. It was here, in this same spot, that we caught up with a group of Mexican search and rescue professionals from Ciudad Acuña as they returned from their first morning mission where they recovered a body.
I understand that you all found a body out there. Tell me about that.
Jose Omar Llanes Hernandez says while searching, crews found a victim underneath 3 feet of debris. He saes the victim appeared to be a man.
What's it like to collaborate with American teams in this search effort?
He explains they're proud to be able to help with rescues in any country that calls on them. These rushing waters that we've seen around here all weekend long is exactly what this search and rescue team is familiar with since they work and they train along the Rio Grande. Jesus Gomez is a dual citizen from Acuña who also answered the call for help.
Because we still have a lot of current from the water, from the river, so we have to cross using some swiftwater rescue techniques to cross safely and start doing some searching and all the debris.
So this team of rescuers, it's a total of 13 of them that are on the ground right now, and they are committed to staying here for the long haul. They told us that they're going to stay here until the last victim is found. It's the same kind of commitment that we have heard from state and federal, even local officials here.
We're highlighting stories from first responders who are tirelessly working to search and rescue anyone they can find. Our Nicole Baker, she kicks off our team coverage. She's live tonight in Kerrville.
Yes, Steve, I'll tell you, I was sitting in church yesterday morning and our pastor says, I need you to pray for everyone impacted by the floods. He was speaking specifically about a couple that he knew that was on their way to be DNA tested so that they could identify their child. You hear that, you get this assignment, you get a pit in your stomach, you're nervous the entire way down here. And that is what it's been the entire day. Just a lot of anxiousness about what we were going to see when we got down here. I will tell you that the pictures only tell you half the story. The video only tells you half the story. It is a far different feeling when you get here. You can see the destruction, not that much behind me because it is dark tonight, but obviously you can see there are tree branches. There is foliage everywhere. We are standing at the source of the heartache for this entire community and really for our entire state. You know, we've seen a lot of resilience. We know Texas is strong. We know Texas will rebuild, but it is not easy. That is exactly why people like Ron Leonard stepped up to help.
You can take pictures and it doesn't look like what it is when you're crawling over the top of it. I really wouldn't want to find one of those little girls deceased. It would be a lot.
As hard as it is, Ron Leonard cares.
So we're down here looking for something we really don't want to find.
Kerrville is home. He and his friends didn't wait for a formal group to form. After all, it's his community.
We went down there and cut away some of the brush as far as we could walk up and down the river looking for anything and everything.
He's seen a lot as a Navy veteran and still looked away when a body was discovered.
And that's when the 3 girls on horseback came through and discovered, because the horse wouldn't move, it had stopped and was not going to move for her. And she looked down and she says, there's a mannequin, was the first thing she said. And then she said it looked like a mannequin, but it was just not what she expected to find. See the tower back?
Oh, right there. Ron's lived through this before.
I was here in '87 at a hunting cabin whenever they were waking everybody up to go look for kids. Everybody that I run into aren't organized, they're just trying to help.
If you want to bring like feeding supplies.
And so is Eric. July 4th was supposed to be a party at the VFW.
And we planned on feeding like 300 people, got to the facility and found out that we had 3 inches of water that had gone through the whole building.
That food would later go to feed first responders assisting with the floods at a local church. Now he's making room for more generosity.
I've been doing, as the commander here has been talking to a lot of other VFW posts. We've gone all the way out as far as New York calling this up and saying, hey, we got supplies we want to send to you.
Eric and his crew spent the weekend cleaning up the post to prepare for those donations. But he hasn't forgotten the why.
It's really sad, right, to see what had happened and to hear all the stories, the missing families, the missing kids.
He knows Kerrville and the surrounding areas are Texas strong, helping each other day by day.
We have all these people in here wanting to help, and to me, that's what makes this place a great place.
So many people want to help, and we know that you at home are probably sitting there wondering what you can do from where you are. We have a list of places that are organizing donations, whatever you'd like to do from the comfort of your home on our website, cbsnewstexas.com. But we've seen that story play out so many times today. People just telling us we're coming together to help one another. Just a few moments before our live shot, there was a helicopter circling. I don't know if you can still hear it. It is still in the area looking around for people.
Nicole, we heard that helicopter too just a few minutes ago. We are actually a little west of Kerrville, actually only about 300 yards from the edge of the Guadalupe River, where this afternoon the bodies of 6 more missing flood victims were found. While there is some level of hope in the hill country that there are survivors out there, finding bodies at least offers some level of comfort for families now waiting for agonizing days. We rode along with one of the state's premier search and rescue organizations, Texas EquuSearch, deep into the wooded banks of the Guadalupe River. They brought boats and heavy equipment to remove what looks like endless amounts of debris in a race against time to find missing flood victims. Tim Miller is its founder and says the carnage he's witnessed along the Guadalupe River is worse than any hurricane or tornado search that his 130 volunteers have ever responded to.
You know, it kind of reminded me of being in Sri Lanka after the tsunami. You know, all the high debris piles and all the vehicles.
While much of the searching out here on the Guadalupe is being done with heavy equipment and boats, EquuSearch says the 6 bodies it found today were discovered by search dogs. These are some of the dogs that are being used that rescuers say have been invaluable in the searches. I asked the EquuSearch founder how he and his team are able to process the horror of finding so many bodies of children and families.
We did have some luck this morning with a couple of our cadaver dogs, and we're still running them dogs now. You know, a deal like this will certainly wear you out physically, and it takes an emotional toll.
This devastation extends for miles all the way down the banks of the river. It looks like nothing withstood the power of the rushing water. Take a look at what were dozens of RVs just like this one. A tattered American flag is a haunting reminder of July 4th, a date that takes on new meaning to local residents who are turning to fellow Texans like Tim Miller. He started his organization after his daughter's murder to make sure others who are lost are not alone.
Well, I mean, I've been, for many of these families have been in my life when my own daughter disappeared and stuff, and we got no help. 0 and 17 months later, her body was found, and I remember every minute of that 17 months of helplessness, hopelessness, and fear, and I don't know what happened. After her body was found, I made a promise to God and Laura I'd never leave a family.
I asked the search team how confident they were that they would find everyone who's missing, and they quite bluntly told me that it's very possible that some of these victims will never be found. They plan to send a diver into the water tomorrow.
Bo Evans had the opportunity to tag along and to embed with one of these groups that was out there earlier today trying to find survivors. Have a look.
All right, take a look at this. They're going to have to cross this water. You want to let them know this?
Where those two trucks are parked, cross that bridge right there, and then work your way down that creek right there.
I would just cover this entire area.
Sean Hanna is the eyes in the sky for volunteers assisting the search efforts for those still missing after the Kerr County flood.
There are eyes in the sky.
For Larry Miner and his team at Heel Corp.
So we're going to guide them in. Hey, if you guys can read me, keep going straight. It's not going to be that debris pile.
A nonprofit that specializes in disaster recovery efforts, drones are invaluable.
When we get hot spots where there's been sand picked up or whatever, we can guide those people into these areas like we have here. It's thick, so we have to guide them around. We can see things ahead of them, and it cuts down on time.
Sean's drone has infrared cameras that can help teams with search dogs find those who are still unaccounted for.
We're going to need a dog down here.
We were able to go with Larry and his team with the search dog as they cleared debris.
Has this area been searched at all?
It's probably had a quick glance over, probably from the water. And now as we go, we'll do a more condensed search.
For Larry, these missions are personal.
In 2019, we who's it called? We do what we're called to do.
And he's called to Hill Country to bring the missing home.
We want to try to bring some closure. It's important, that people have that opportunity for closure. So Greg Abbott said that we're going to work this till every single one of them are found, and I believe it.
Are you going to work it till?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We don't stop.
In Hunt, Bo Evans, CBS News, Texas.
And as soon as they learned about the destruction down south, the volunteers at Texans on Mission started preparing their gear. So starting on Monday, their mobile command center and volunteers will drive down to help get homeowners back on their feet. The nonprofit's command center, shower unit, and feeding unit, all those will head down to the Kerrville area with more teams going on Wednesday. Right now, Texans on Mission already have assessors and chaplains in place to help with the heartache.
We've been there helping them, just being a shoulder to cry on, being somebody to pray with, being somebody to give them support. And our chaplains are trained for these crisis situations.
If you or someone you know needs help from Texans on Mission, you can go to their website and just alert them to anything that you need.